Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what stories the stars might tell? Ancient civilizations weren't just gazing at the heavens, they were mapping them, worshipping them, and even building monuments to align with their celestial movements. These weren't just random acts of devotion, they were precise, calculated masterpieces designed to capture the cosmos in stone. From the towering pillars of Stonehenge, where the sun rises perfectly between the stones on the summer solstice, to the pyramids of Giza, aligned with eerie accuracy to the stars of Orion's belt, our ancestors left behind clues to their cosmic obsessions. These structures weren't just buildings, they were celestial calendars, sacred observatories, and gateways to the divine. Imagine standing in the heart of an ancient temple as the first light of dawn creeps through a narrow doorway, illuminating a hidden chamber only once a year. Or witnessing the shadow of a serpent slither down the steps of a pyramid during the equinox, as if brought to life by the sun itself. These phenomena weren't accidents. They were the result of meticulous planning, a marriage of architecture and astronomy that still baffles modern scientists. How did civilizations with no advanced technology achieve such precision? What secrets did they know about the skies that we've only begun to unravel? Today, we're embarking on a journey to uncover 20 of these ancient wonders, monuments that whisper the secrets of the stars. Each one tells a story of human ingenuity, a testament to the enduring fascination with the cosmos. From the deserts of Egypt to the jungles of Central America, these sites are more than just ruins, they're time capsules of celestial knowledge. So join me as we step into the footsteps of the ancients, decode their astronomical blueprints, and marvel at the monuments that still speak to us across the millennia. The stars guided them, and now they're guiding us through their extraordinary legacy. The massive stones of Stonehenge have stood silent sentinel on England's Salisbury Plain for over 4,500 years, but every summer solstice, this ancient monument comes alive with purpose. If you were to stand in the center of the stone circle at dawn on the longest day of the year, you'd witness something extraordinary. The first rays of the rising sun slice precisely between the uprights of the towering trilithons, casting a golden path across the altar stone. This isn't just a happy coincidence. The entire layout of Stonehenge is a carefully orchestrated celestial map, with the heel stone acting as a solar marker, framing the sunrise like a colossal doorway to the heavens. But how did Neolithic builders without the benefit of written language or modern tools achieve such precision? The blue stones, some weighing over 4 tons, were hauled from over 150 miles away in Wales, while the larger sarsen stones were dragged from quarries 20 miles distant. The effort would have been staggering, suggesting this was far more than just a ritual site. Some researchers believe Stonehenge functioned as a massive astronomical calendar, tracking not just solstices but also lunar cycles and eclipses. The Aubrey holes, a ring of pits surrounding the stones, may have been used to predict celestial events, turning the entire complex into a prehistoric observatory. Today, thousands gather at Stonehenge each solstice, continuing a tradition as old as the stones themselves. Druids, pagans, and curious onlookers stand shoulder to shoulder as the sun rises, echoing ceremonies that might have taken place here millennia ago. The winter solstice holds equal significance when the sun sets perfectly between the uprights of the tallest trilithon, marking the year's shortest day. Whether it was a temple to the sun, a burial ground for the elite, or a healing site as some theories suggest, one thing is undeniable. Stonehenge is a testament to humanity's timeless fascination with the skies. Its builders looked up, measured the cosmos, and left us a stone puzzle that still captures our imagination. While Stonehenge captures the dance of the sun, the Great Pyramid of Giza reveals an even more astonishing celestial secret, one etched into the very fabric of its design. If you were to stand before this colossal structure at night and trace the positions of its three main pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, you'd notice something eerily familiar. Their layout mirrors the three stars of Orion's belt with uncanny precision, as if the desert itself were a reflection of the night sky. The ancient Egyptians didn't just build tombs, they constructed a terrestrial map of the heavens, aligning their monuments with the same stars they believed would guide their pharaohs to the afterlife. But the celestial connections don't stop there. Hidden deep inside the Great Pyramid are narrow, mysterious shafts, barely wide enough for a person to crawl through. These weren't ventilation passages or structural quirks, they were precisely angled towards specific stars. The southern shaft in the king's chamber points directly to Orion's belt, while the northern shaft aligns with Thuban, the pole star of the ancient Egyptians. At the time the pyramid was built, around 2500 BCE, Thuban held the position that Polaris does today, serving as a fixed point in the sky for navigation. The builders didn't just glance at the stars, they studied them with an accuracy that rivals modern astronomy. How did a civilization without telescopes or advanced mathematics achieve such precision? Some argue it was intentional, a deliberate fusion of science and spirituality, where the pyramid served as both tomb and cosmic gateway. Others suggest the alignments could be coincidental, pointing out that stars shift over millennia due to Earth's wobble, altering their positions since the pyramid's construction. But the sheer consistency of these alignments across multiple Egyptian monuments makes a strong case for purpose over chance. The Temple of Isis at Dendera, for instance, features a zodiac ceiling mapping the skies with astonishing detail, further proving the Egyptians' mastery of celestial observation. The debate continues to spark fascination, blending archaeology, astronomy, and a touch of mystery. Were the pyramids merely grand burial chambers, or were they something far more profound, a bridge between Earth and the cosmos, engineered by a civilization that saw the stars as divine? Every stone, every alignment, every shaft whispers a question. What did the ancient Egyptians know about the universe that we're still unraveling today? One thing is certain, their monuments stand not just as testaments to human ambition, but as timeless puzzles etched in stone and stars. Deep in the jungles of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, the towering pyramid of El Castillo at Chichen Itza holds a celestial secret that comes alive just twice a year. On the spring and autumn equinoxes, as the sun dips toward the horizon, something miraculous unfolds. The play of light and shadow transforms the pyramid's northwest staircase into the undulating body of a serpent, slithering down from the temple above to meet its stone-carved head at the base. This isn't just a trick of the light. The Mayans engineered every angle, every step to create this precise illusion, a testament to their mastery of astronomy and their reverence for Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god who bridged the earthly and divine realms. What makes this phenomenon even more remarkable is the pyramid's role as a colossal calendar. Each of its four sides has 91 steps, totaling 364 when combined with the shared platform at the top, a number strikingly close to the solar year. The Mayans didn't just track time, they wove it into their architecture, aligning their world with the rhythms of the cosmos. Their famous long count calendar, which famously sparked debates about the end of the world in 2012, was just one part of a complex system that also included the Tzolk'in, a 260-day sacred cycle tied to agricultural and ceremonial life. For the Mayans, celestial events weren't abstract concepts. They dictated when to plant crops, when to wage war, and when to honor the gods. The Equinox serpent isn't the only astronomical feature hidden in Chichen Itza's stones. The observatory, known as El Caracol for its spiral staircase, features narrow windows aligned with Venus's most extreme positions in the sky. To the Mayans, Venus wasn't just a planet, it was Kukulkan's celestial twin, a harbinger of both creation and destruction. They tracked its cycles with such precision that their calculations were off by just 2 hours over 500 years. Even the Great Ball Court, where players competed in a ritual game with life or death stakes, mirrors the Pleiades star cluster's alignment during key seasonal transitions. Today, thousands gather at Chichen Itza every equinox to witness the serpent's descent, a tradition that echoes ceremonies performed here over 1,000 years ago. But the pyramid's magic doesn't end there. Clap your hands at its base and the sound echoes back as the chirp of the sacred Quetzal bird, another feat of acoustic engineering that blurs the line between architecture and artistry. Whether it was a temple, a calendar, or a portal to the gods, El Castillo stands as a monument to a civilization that didn't just observe the heavens, they spoke their language, carved it in stone, and left it for us to decipher. In the shadow of the serpent, we're not just spectators, we're part of a dialogue across time, one that asks us to look up and wonder what else the ancients knew about the sky that we're still learning today. Buried beneath the rolling green hills of Ireland's Boyne Valley, Newgrange is a 5,000-year-old mystery that comes alive only once a year. At dawn on the winter solstice, as the world outside shivers in darkness, a narrow beam of sunlight creeps through a small opening above the entrance known as the roof box and slowly illuminates the tomb's inner chamber. This isn't just sunlight slipping through a crack. It's a meticulously engineered spectacle designed to flood the sacred space with golden light for precisely 17 minutes, marking the rebirth of the sun and the promise of longer days ahead. For the Neolithic farmers who built it, this moment wasn't just about tracking time. It was a spiritual lifeline, a cosmic reassurance that the bitter cold wouldn't last forever. The precision behind Newgrange's solstice alignment is staggering. The roof box, a rectangular opening above the entrance, acts like a celestial targeting system, angled perfectly to capture the first light of the shortest day of the year. As the sun rises, the beam travels down a 62-foot passageway, narrow enough to ensure the light remains a focused shaft, and spills onto the chamber's intricately carved spiral stones. These symbols, repeated throughout the tomb, might represent the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, themes deeply tied to the solstice's promise of renewal. What's even more remarkable, the entire structure predates Stonehenge by centuries and the pyramids of Giza by a millennium, yet it displays an understanding of astronomy that rivals both. But Newgrange wasn't just a prehistoric observatory, it was a bridge between worlds. Human remains found inside suggest it served as a tomb, but the solstice event hints at something grander, a ritual space where the living communed with ancestors or deities as the sun's light pierced the darkness. Imagine the awe of those who gathered here, watching the chamber glow as if the spirits themselves had summoned the light. For farming communities relying on the seasons, this alignment wasn't just symbolic, it was practical. The solstice marked the turning point, a signal to prepare for planting, a reminder that nature's cycles were dependable even in the harshest winters. Today, a lottery system grants a lucky few the chance to witness this ancient miracle firsthand, standing in the same spot where Neolithic people once marveled at the sun's return. Modern reconstructions of the roof box prove the alignment wasn't accidental. Even a slight deviation would throw the entire phenomenon off. As the light fades from the chamber, something lingers, the echo of a people who look to the sky not just for survival but for meaning. Newgrange doesn't just capture sunlight, it captures a moment frozen in time, a testament to humanity's eternal dance with the cosmos. High atop the Andes, hidden among the mist-shrouded peaks of Peru, Machu Picchu's Intihuatana stone stands as a silent witness to the Inca Empire's celestial genius. Carved from a single piece of granite, this enigmatic pillar isn't just a sculpture, it's a precision solar instrument, designed to capture the sun's rays during solstices with breathtaking accuracy. When the sun reaches its highest point in the sky on the winter solstice, the stone casts no shadow at all, as if time itself were standing still. The Incas called it the hitching post of the sun, believing it literally tethered the sun to the earth, preventing it from disappearing forever during the darkest days of the year. But the Intihuatana wasn't just a spiritual anchor, it was a practical tool for survival. In a civilization where agriculture thrived at dizzying altitudes, tracking the sun's movements was a matter of life and death. The stone's alignments marked the optimal times for planting and harvesting, synchronizing crop cycles with the seasons. Terraced fields cascading down the mountainsides still bear testament to this harmony between earth and sky, where every potato seed and maize stalk was sown in rhythm with celestial events. During the summer solstice, the stone's shadow points directly toward sacred peaks in the distance, turning the entire landscape into a cosmic map where mountains became markers of celestial time. What's even more astonishing is how the Incas achieved such precision without written language or modern tools. They relied on keen observation, generations of knowledge, and an intimate relationship with their environment. Nearby, the Temple of the Sun features windows perfectly aligned with the sunrise during the June solstice, bathing the interior in golden light. Even the city's layout mirrors the constellations, with buildings positioned to reflect the Milky Way's sweeping arc across the night sky. For the Incas, astronomy wasn't separate from daily life. It was woven into the fabric of their cities, their rituals, and their very understanding of the universe. Today, visitors to Machu Picchu can still trace their fingers along the Intihuatana's weathered edges, though touching it is now forbidden. After centuries of exposure, the stone's surface has grown delicate. Yet its power endures. During solstices, modern-day descendants of the Incas gather here to honor traditions that stretch back centuries, proving that some connections to the cosmos never fade. Whether it was a calendar, a temple, or a bridge between worlds, the Intihuatana stone reminds us that the greatest monuments aren't just made of rock. They're made of wonder, carved by hands that dared to reach for the sky. As dawn breaks over the jungles of Cambodia, Angkor Wat transforms into a celestial compass, its towering spires catching the first light of the spring equinox in a spectacle of precision. The temple's central sanctuary, rising like a stone mountain, aligns perfectly with the rising sun on this day, casting a golden path through its pillared corridors. This isn't mere coincidence, it's a deliberate echo of Hindu cosmology, where Angkor Wat serves as an earthly mirror of Mount Meru, the mythical axis of the universe. To the builders of the 12th century, this alignment wasn't just architectural bravado. It was a sacred dialogue between heaven and earth, a way to anchor the divine to the mortal realm. The equinox alignment reveals the temple's deeper purpose. Mount Meru, in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, is surrounded by concentric oceans and continents, a cosmic blueprint replicated in Angkor Wat's moats and galleries. The 5 towers at its heart represent Meru's peaks, while the causeways mirror the paths of celestial beings. When the equinox sun climbs directly over the central tower, it's as if the temple awakens, its stones humming with the energy of creation. This moment would have held profound ritual significance, marking the balance of day and night, a time when the veil between worlds was believed to thin, inviting gods and ancestors to walk among the living. But the celestial connections don't end with the equinox. Angkor Wat's bas-reliefs are a star map in stone, depicting scenes from Hindu epics alongside precise astronomical markers. The churning of the ocean of milk, a famous panel, may encode the precession of the equinoxes, a slow wobble in Earth's axis that shifts stellar positions over millennia. Even the temple's layout aligns with the constellation Draco, suggesting the Khmer architects saw the sky as a blueprint for their sacred geometry. For a civilization without telescopes, their ability to track cosmic cycles borders on the prophetic. Today, as visitors watch the equinox light spill across Angkor Wat's ancient stones, they're participating in a ritual as old as the temple itself. The sunrise still follows the path laid down centuries ago, a testament to the Khmer Empire's unrivaled fusion of art, science, and spirituality. Angkor Wat isn't just a monument, it's a clock, a calendar, and a cosmic model, whispering secrets of the universe to those who know how to listen. In its shadow, we're reminded that the ancients didn't just build temples, they built bridges to the stars. The colossal temple of Karnak, stretching across 200 acres along the Nile, wasn't just a religious complex, it was a cosmic stage where ancient Egyptians reenacted the very birth of creation. Every winter solstice, as the sun rose over the eastern horizon, its first rays would pierce through the temple's central axis, flooding the inner sanctuaries with light. This alignment wasn't accidental. The entire temple was designed as a tribute to Amun-Ra, the sun god whose daily journey across the sky symbolized the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. To stand in the hypostyle hall during this moment would have been to witness divinity itself, as shafts of sunlight illuminated hidden reliefs of the god, turning stone into a shimmering tapestry of gold. What makes this alignment extraordinary is the precision behind it. The temple's main axis points toward the winter solstice sunrise, a time when the sun reached its lowest and weakest point in the sky, a moment the Egyptians associated with Amun-Ra's rebirth. Just as the sun began its return journey northward, bringing longer days, the temple's corridors acted as a celestial runway, guiding the light deep into the sacred heart of Karnak. The hypostyle hall, with its towering 134 columns, wasn't just an architectural marvel. It was a symbolic forest, its papyrus-shaped pillars representing the primordial marsh where creation began. The hall's carefully spaced columns allowed sunlight to filter through in calculated patterns, marking solstices and equinoxes like a giant stone sundial. But Karnak's celestial connections go beyond solar alignments. The temple's sacred lake, used for ritual purifications, mirrored the night sky, its still waters reflecting constellations that guided priestly ceremonies. The god Amun-Ra wasn't just a solar deity. He was the hidden force behind all cosmic order, and Karnak served as his earthly dwelling. During the annual Opet festival, statues of Amun-Ra would travel from Karnak to Luxor Temple along a processional avenue lined with sphinxes, reenacting the sun's journey and renewing the king's divine right to rule. The temple's very walls were inscribed with star charts and lunar cycles, blurring the line between worship and astronomy. Today, even in ruins, Karnak whispers its celestial secrets. Modern researchers have discovered that certain temple pillars align with key stars like Sirius, whose heliacal rising signaled the Nile's life-giving floods. The precision of these alignments suggests the Egyptians didn't just observe the sky, they wove it into their sacred architecture, turning stone into a living map of the heavens. Karnak wasn't just a temple, it was a clock, a calendar, and a stage for the eternal dance between earth and sky. To walk its halls is to step into a world where architecture and astronomy were one, where every column, every corridor was a prayer carved in stone reaching for the stars. Rising from the golden sands of India's Odisha coast like a frozen sunrise, the Sun Temple of Konark is a stone chariot built for the gods. Designed as a colossal representation of Surya's celestial chariot, every inch of this 13th century marvel whispers an ancient understanding of time itself. Its 24 intricately carved wheels aren't just decorative, they're a functioning sundial, each spoke casting shadows that mark the hours with uncanny precision. The 7 stone horses straining at the temple's base go beyond mythological symbolism. They embody the 7 days of the week, charging eternally forward as if pulling the sun across the sky. This isn't just architecture, it's astronomy carved in sandstone, a monument where time and divinity collide. Stand before the temple at dawn and you'll witness its true magic. The entire structure is oriented so the first rays of sunlight stream through the eastern gate, striking the deity's sanctum with theatrical brilliance. As the sun climbs, shadows dance across the wheels, their positions acting like clock hands for a civilization that measured days not in minutes but in sun salutations. The wheels themselves are engineering marvels, 12 pairs representing both day and night, their designs alternating between full blooms and intricate star patterns to mirror the celestial duality of light and darkness. Even the temple's staircases guard astronomical secrets. Their risers are etched with images of marching elephants, symbolizing the Earth's slow journey through space, while the carved deities above track seasonal constellations. But Connaugh's genius extends beyond solar worship. The temple's alignment captures the equinoxes with eerie accuracy. On these days, the sun positions itself directly over the main tower, creating a play of light that illuminates hidden carvings of celestial nymphs and planetary deities. The 7 horses, each sculpted in mid-gallop, face westward in a deliberate break from tradition, as if frozen in the moment of dragging the setting sun below the horizon. Some researchers believe their uneven positioning encodes lunar cycles, with subtle variations in their harnesses corresponding to the moon's phases. The entire temple becomes a cosmos in miniature, where every sculpture, from amorous couples to warring gods, mirrors the rhythmic interplay of celestial bodies. Today, though the main sanctum lies in ruins, the temple's stone chronicle of time remains legible. Modern astronomers have confirmed that the wheel's shadow patterns still accurately mark solstices, a testament to the artisans who carved them 8 centuries ago without modern tools. The temple's missing 7th horse, lost to time or treasure hunters, only deepens the mystery. Was its absence meant to symbolize the unfinished nature of time itself? Or perhaps it's a silent reminder that even the ancients knew some cosmic truths escape human grasp. As the sea breeze whispers through Connaugh's sun-bleached pillars, one thing is clear. This chariot wasn't built to honor the sun, it was built to ride with it, an eternal monument to humanity's quest to harness the sky. In the heart of Rome, where ancient streets hum with modern life, the Pantheon stands as a 2,000-year-old celestial timepiece. Its massive dome, still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome, holds a secret at its crown: the oculus, a 27-foot-wide opening to the sky. This isn't just architectural brilliance, it's a carefully calculated window to the heavens. Every April 21st, as the sun climbs to its midday peak, a beam of light pours through the oculus like liquid gold, striking the Pantheon's grand entrance in a spectacle that would have taken your breath away in antiquity, just as it does today. This date wasn't chosen at random, it marked the founding day of Rome, a celebration woven into the very fabric of the empire's identity. For the Romans, this alignment wasn't just about marking time, it was about manifesting destiny, fusing the city's birth with the cosmos itself. Walk inside during this moment, and you're standing in the footsteps of emperors and priests who witnessed the same celestial ritual. The sunlight doesn't just hit the doorway, it transforms the entire space. Dust motes dance in the beam like stars swirling through the Milky Way, while the marble floor, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, glows as if lit from within. The Pantheon's designers understood something profound. Light wasn't just illumination, it was divinity made visible. The oculus served as a cosmic eye, linking the temple to the sun god Sol Invictus and later, when repurposed as a Christian church, to the light of God. This duality reveals the Pantheon's genius. It wasn't just a temple to specific deities, but a vessel for the universal awe of celestial power, adaptable across religions and eras. But the April alignment is just the beginning. The Pantheon's relationship with the sky runs deeper. During the winter solstice, when the sun hangs lowest in the sky, sunlight strikes the interior's upper niches, a subtle nod to the changing seasons. At noon on the equinoxes, the beam lands precisely on the junction between floor and wall, splitting the space between light and shadow in perfect balance. Even rainfall becomes part of the spectacle, water pouring through the oculus drains through nearly invisible holes in the floor, a reminder that the Pantheon wasn't just built to observe the heavens but to embody their rhythms. The building's original purpose as a temple to all gods, Its name literally means "of every god," hints at its role as a cosmic crossroads. Alignments like these weren't just aesthetic, they were ritualistic theater. Imagine a Roman citizen standing beneath the oculus on April 21st, watching sunlight pour over the emperor as he entered, his figure bathed in celestial approval. The Pantheon blurred the line between architecture and astronomy, turning stone and light into a dialogue between earth and sky. Today, as tourists crane their necks to see the oculus framing passing clouds or a lone circling bird, that dialogue continues, a testament to humanity's timeless urge to build monuments that don't just reach for the heavens but invite them in. Perched above the sacred city of Cusco, the Temple of the Sun, or Coricancha, was the Inca Empire's most revered sanctuary, a place where gold-clad walls shimmered like captured sunlight and celestial alignments turned architecture into worship. On the June solstice, the shortest day of the year in the southern hemisphere, the temple's eastern doorway becomes a celestial gateway. As the sun climbs over the distant Andes, its first rays pierce through this opening, flooding the inner chamber with a beam of light that illuminates a golden disk once mounted on the western wall. This wasn't just a display of architectural precision. It was a divine rendezvous, a moment when the sun god Inti communed directly with his earthly subjects. The Incas didn't just observe the solstice, they choreographed it, embedding their devotion into the very stones of Coricancha. The temple's solstice alignment was the centerpiece of Inti Raymi, the Festival of the Sun, a celebration so vital it's still reenacted today. Imagine the scene: priests draped in sun-embroidered robes, nobles bearing offerings of maize and coca, and the Sapa Inca himself raising a golden cup to toast the sun's rebirth. As the solstice light touched the sacred disk, the entire city erupted in celebration, with processions, dances, and sacrifices meant to ensure the sun's return and the renewal of life. The festival wasn't just pageantry, it was a survival ritual. In a land where crops grew at impossible altitudes, the solstice marked the turning point, the promise that winter's grip would loosen, and terraced fields would soon brim with potatoes and quinoa. But Coricancha's celestial genius extends beyond the solstice. The temple's curved walls, built with masonry so precise a knife blade can't slide between the stones, follow the arc of the sun's annual path. 4 smaller chambers surrounding the central court honored the moon, Venus, the Pleiades, and lightning, creating a microcosm of the Inca cosmos. Spanish chroniclers wrote of gold and emerald gardens and life-sized metal llamas that glittered in the sunlight, but the true treasure was the temple's alignment, an invisible thread tying the earth to the heavens. Even after the Spanish built the Church of Santo Domingo atop its foundations, Coricancha's solar magic persisted. During the June solstice, sunlight still finds its way through the colonial architecture, a stubborn echo of Inca ingenuity. Today, Inti Raymi draws thousands to Cusco, where actors in elaborate costumes recreate the ancient rites. Though the gold is gone, the temple stones still whisper their secrets. Modern measurements confirm the solstice alignment wasn't approximate, it was exact, calibrated to the sun's position in the 15th century. For the Incas, Coricancha wasn't just a temple, it was a covenant, a pact between humanity and the cosmos, written in light and stone. As the solstice sun strikes the same spot it did 500 years ago, it asks us, what does it mean to build a civilization in conversation with the sky? The answer, etched into Coricancha's walls, is as bright as the sun itself. On the rugged southern coast of Malta, the Mnajdra temples stand as one of humanity's oldest celestial calculators, their weathered limestone walls whispering secrets of a civilization that measured time by the sun's dance. Built over 5,000 years ago, older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids, these megalithic structures aren't just ruins. They're a prehistoric observatory where sunlight becomes a sacred scribe. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the first rays of dawn slip through the temple's main doorway with surgical precision, painting a narrow beam of light across stone altars carved with spirals and dots. But the true marvel comes at the solstices, when sunlight pierces smaller, carefully positioned apertures, marking the year's longest and shortest days like a cosmic clock etched in stone. What makes these alignments extraordinary is their precision. The temple's builders didn't just stack rocks, they engineered a three-dimensional calendar. The South Temple's axis aligns perfectly with the equinox sunrise, while its side chambers capture solstice sunbeams through tiny window stones. One slab near the entrance is carved with rows of cup marks. Some believe this was a counting device, tracking days between celestial events to predict planting and harvest cycles. For a farming society on an island with no natural rivers, these alignments weren't just ceremonial, they were survival tools. The solstice markers signaled when to sow wheat before the autumn rains or harvest honey before the summer drought. Even the temple's curved facade mirrors the arc of the sun's annual path, a stone echo of the horizon. The temple's astronomical sophistication raises tantalizing questions. How did Neolithic builders without metal tools or written language achieve such accuracy? Some researchers suggest they used simple but effective tools, a wooden gnomon to cast shadows or aligned stones to cite the sun's position over successive years. Others point to the temple's acoustics. Certain chambers amplify sound at frequencies that may have enhanced rituals during these solar events. The corbelled ceilings, designed to distribute weight without mortar, also create narrow light channels that sharpen the solstice beams into dagger-like projections. Today, Mnajdra's celestial magic still captivates. On equinox mornings, visitors gather in hushed anticipation as sunlight creeps across the ancient floor, illuminating carvings that might represent stars or crop cycles. The temples remind us that astronomy wasn't invented in modern observatories. It was born in places like this where stone met sky and survival depended on reading the heavens. As the solstice light fades from the altar, one truth lingers. These temples weren't just buildings. They were a dialogue with the cosmos, written in sunlight and shadow by people who knew the sky wasn't just to admire, it was to obey. Perched high in the ruins of Chichen Itza, the caracol stands as a testament to Mayan astronomical genius, a spiraling stone observatory that tracked the heavens with jaw-dropping accuracy. Unlike any other structure in the ancient world, its narrow windows don't frame scenic views of the jungle. Their precision sightlines targeting Venus at its most extreme positions in the sky. To the Mayans, Venus wasn't just a bright dot in the twilight, it was Kukulkan's celestial twin, a harbinger of war, rain, and royal destiny. The caracol's architects didn't just admire the planet, they engineered an entire building to decode its movements, aligning windows to capture Venus's 8-year cycle of disappearance and reappearance. When the planet reached its northernmost or southernmost points, sunlight would pierce specific apertures, signaling times for sacred ceremonies or military campaigns recorded in the Dresden Codex, one of the few surviving Mayan books. This ancient manuscript reveals just how deeply the Mayans understood Venus. Its detailed charts predicted the planet's appearances within an error margin of just 2 hours over 500 years, a feat modern astronomers didn't match until the invention of telescopes. The Codex didn't just track Venus, it tied its cycles to human events, warning of auspicious days for planting or omens of drought. One chilling passage describes a star war, linking Venus's position to the timing of battles, proof that the Mayans saw the cosmos as a living force shaping earthly affairs. The caracol's skewed alignment, initially puzzling to archaeologists, turned out to be deliberate. Its northeastern window frames Venus at its northern extreme, while the southwestern one marks its southernmost rise. Even the building's circular shape may mirror Venus's cyclical path, a stone echo of celestial order, but the caracol's genius extends beyond Venus. Its staircases align with solstice sunrises, and its roof comb, a towering stone lattice, once cast shadow patterns that tracked lunar cycles. Imagine priests climbing its spiral interior, much like a conch shell's chambers, which gave the building its Spanish name, to observe the night sky through these calibrated openings. They'd record data that allowed them to predict eclipses with uncanny accuracy, even calculating the moon's subtle wobble in orbit. In a civilization without glass lenses or metal tools, this was astronomy carved in limestone, a blend of science and spirituality where every shadow, every beam of light carried divine meaning. Today, as the jungle hums around the Caracol's ruins, its windows still frame the same stars the Mayans studied 1,000 years ago. Modern laser scans confirm the alignment's precision wasn't guesswork. It was the product of generations of observation encoded in architecture. The Dresden Codex's Venus tables, once dismissed as superstition, are now recognized as one of history's most sophisticated astronomical records. Together, book and building reveal a truth. The Mayans didn't just watch the sky, they conversed with it, turning stone and parchment into a dialogue across time. The Caracol stands not just as a ruin, but as a challenge. How much of the cosmos can we understand when we truly listen to its rhythms? The Temple of Amun-Ra at Karnak held a secret written in starlight, one that arrived each year with the floodwaters of the Nile. On the eastern horizon, just before dawn in mid-July, the brightest star in the night sky, Sirius, would reappear after a 70-day absence. This moment, known as the Heliacal Rising, wasn't just an astronomical event, it was the heartbeat of Egyptian civilization. As Sirius emerged above the temple's sacred lake, its first gleam coincided with the Nile's annual inundation, a life-giving deluge that turned barren desert into fertile black soil. The Egyptians didn't see this as coincidence, they saw it as divine orchestration, a celestial signal from Sopdet, the goddess they associated with Sirius, who wept tears that became the flood. Karnak's alignment with Sirius reveals how deeply astronomy governed daily life. The temple's main axis, already aligned to the winter solstice sunrise, also framed Sirius's rising during the flood season. Priests would watch for the star's return from specially positioned chapels, its light reflecting in the temple's sacred lake like a shimmering pathway from heaven to earth. When the signal came, messengers raced down the Nile to announce the coming floods, triggering a cascade of preparations. Farmers readied their fields, scribes updated records, and the pharaoh performed rituals to honor Isis, who was both sister to Sopdet and wife of Osiris, god of the Nile's life-giving powers. The entire Egyptian calendar revolved around this event, dividing the year into 3 seasons: inundation, emergence, and harvest, each tied to Sirius's movements. The precision behind this system was staggering. Egyptian astronomers observing from temple rooftops noted that Sirius's rising shifted slightly each year due to Earth's wobble, a phenomenon called precession. Yet their calendar remained accurate for millennia, proof of their meticulous record-keeping. The temple's wall carvings tell the story, images of Sopdet as a woman crowned with a star, standing beside Amun-Ra as he grants the pharaoh dominion over the flood's bounty. Even the temple's hypostyle hall, with its forest of columns, may have mirrored the celestial patterns of Sirius and Orion, creating an earthly duplicate of the heavens where gods walked among men. Today, scientists confirm Sirius's heliacal rising still precedes the Nile's modern floods, though dams have tamed the ancient deluge. The temple's stones, though weathered, still point to the star's ancient rising point, a testament to the Egyptians' fusion of faith and astronomy. They didn't just track Sirius, they worshipped it, built for it, and staked their survival on its cycles. In Karnak's shadows, we're reminded that some monuments aren't just aligned with the stars, they're conversations with them, written in light, water, and stone. Hidden among the emerald hills of China's Henan province, the Temple of the Sun stands as a silent testament to the Tang dynasty's celestial mastery. Built in the 8th century, this circular monument isn't just an architectural marvel, it's a solar observatory designed to harness the power of the winter solstice. On the year's shortest day, the first light of dawn strikes the temple's eastern gate with surgical precision, flooding the inner altar with golden rays. This alignment wasn't poetic coincidence, it was cosmic engineering, a physical manifestation of China's belief that the emperor ruled with the mandate of heaven. To the Tang court, this annual solar event wasn't just about marking time. It was about renewing the celestial bond between ruler and universe, proving his divine right to govern. The temple's circular shape mirrors the ancient Chinese concept of Changxia, all under heaven, where the earth was seen as a square embraced by the round vault of the sky. Each of its 12 outer pillars represents a month in the lunar calendar, while the 4 central columns symbolize the seasons, but the true genius lies in the winter solstice alignment. As the sun climbed over the horizon, its light would pass between 2 specific pillars, striking a jade disc placed at the center of the altar. This moment triggered elaborate ceremonies where the emperor, clad in dragon-embroidered robes, would offer sacrifices to the sun god Shangdi. The rituals weren't mere pageantry, they were vital to maintaining cosmic harmony, ensuring good harvests and warding off disasters like floods or rebellions. Chinese cosmology viewed the solstice as a turning point, the moment when yin darkness reached its peak and began yielding to yang light. The emperor's role in these rituals was deeply personal. He wasn't just a political leader, he was the son of heaven, the human conduit between earthly and celestial realms. Historical records describe how he'd fast for days beforehand, purify himself in sacred waters, then kneel at the altar as the solstice sun bathed him in light, symbolizing heaven's approval. The temple's acoustics heightened the drama. Whispers at the altar echoed unnaturally loud, as if the gods themselves were responding. Beyond its solstice function, the temple served as an astronomical tool. Its pillars align with key stars in the Azure Dragon constellation, while the roof's intricate carvings map the 24 solar terms of the Chinese agricultural calendar. Modern archaeologists have discovered that the structure's dimensions encode precise geometric ratios, possibly reflecting the Tang dynasty's advanced understanding of pi and celestial mathematics. Unlike Western solar temples, which often emphasize conquest or worship, the Temple of the Sun embodies balance, a dialogue between heaven and earth, ruler and cosmos, where alignment wasn't about dominance but harmony. Today, visitors can still trace their hands along the same sun-warmed stones where emperors once knelt. Though the jade disc is gone and the prayers silent, the solstice alignment remains exact. As dawn breaks on December 21st, light still slips between those ancient pillars, a reminder of a civilization that didn't just observe the sky but shaped its very identity around it. In the Temple of the Sun, architecture became prayer, stone became scripture, and the heavens weren't just watched, they were answered. Across the Mississippi River from modern-day St. Louis, the Cahokia Mounds rise like silent giants from the Illinois floodplain, the remnants of North America's largest pre-Columbian city. Among these earthen pyramids, one structure stands out as a testament to celestial ingenuity. Stonehenge, a vast circle of towering cedar posts that functioned as both calendar and sacred stage for the Mississippian people. Unlike its stone counterpart in England, this wooden observatory was designed with the pragmatic brilliance of a farming culture deeply attuned to the sky's rhythms. On the summer solstice, dawn would break directly over a marker post aligned with the central mound, casting shadows that stretched like celestial fingers across the plaza. By winter, the sun would rise through a different post, signaling the year's darkest day. These weren't just markers of time, they were the heartbeat of a civilization where agriculture, ceremony, and astronomy were inseparable. The precision of Stonehenge's alignments reveals the Mississippians' sophisticated understanding of the cosmos. Archaeologists discovered that the posts formed multiple concentric circles over time, each rebuilt with meticulous attention to solar and lunar events. The largest reconstruction spanned 410 feet in diameter with 48 posts numbers that may correlate with lunar cycles or the 18.6-year moon standstill cycle when the moon reaches its extreme positions in the sky. During equinoxes, sunlight would strike the central post at noon, dividing the circle into perfect halves of light and shadow. For a culture without written records, these alignments were a living almanac, dictating when to plant the Three Sisters crops of maize, beans, and squash that sustained their sprawling metropolis of 20,000 people. But Woodhenge was more than a farming tool. It was a sacred theater. Excavations uncovered ceremonial fires burned at key posts during solstices, along with offerings of shell beads and carved figurines. The summer solstice alignment points directly to Monk's Mound, the largest earthen pyramid north of Mexico, suggesting processions where priests or chieftains moved between celestial and earthly power centers. One chilling discovery hints at darker rituals: the remains of a young man buried near a solstice post, his skeleton arranged as if witnessing the sunrise for eternity. Whether his death was sacrificial or ceremonial remains debated, but his presence underscores how deeply the Mississippians tied human life to celestial cycles. What makes Cahokia's celestial knowledge even more astonishing is its transmission across generations without written language. Oral traditions and apprentice-style learning preserved astronomical alignments so accurately that modern reconstructions of Woodhenge still function as intended. The equinox sun rises through the same sightlines today as it did 1,000 years ago, a silent tribute to indigenous scientists who mapped the heavens in wood and earth. As the morning mist lifts over the mounds, it's impossible not to wonder, what other sky knowledge flourished here, now lost to time? Cahokia's legacy whispers that civilizations don't need stone monoliths to speak with the stars. Sometimes all it takes is a circle of wooden posts and the wisdom to read their shadows. Hidden beneath the bustling streets of modern Mexico City lies the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, a monument where architecture and astronomy merge in a tribute to the cosmos. This pyramid, dedicated to Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity who bridged earth and sky, holds celestial secrets in every carved stone. But its true magic reveals itself when Venus, the morning and evening star, reaches key points in its cycle. The temple's staircases and platform edges align precisely with the planet's extreme rising and setting positions, transforming the entire structure into a stone and stucco observatory. For the ancient Teotihuacanos, these alignments weren't just astronomical markers, they were moments when Quetzalcoatl himself descended from the heavens, his celestial twin Venus signaling his arrival. The temple's connection to Venus runs deeper than alignments. Its four-tiered design mirrors Mesoamerican cosmology, where the feathered serpent represented the balance between opposing forces: earth and sky, life and death, creation and destruction. Each of the temple's 366 carved heads of Quetzalcoatl corresponds to a day in the solar calendar, while the alternating feathered and serpentine motifs symbolize the planet's dual nature as both morning and evening star. Venus's 8-year cycle, which the Teotihuacanos tracked with astonishing precision, dictated the timing of sacred ceremonies and royal coronations. When Venus appeared at its brightest, priests would ascend the pyramid's steep steps to perform rituals believed to channel the serpent god's power into the earthly realm. What makes this temple extraordinary is how it encodes celestial knowledge into its very structure. The facade's intricate carvings depict Quetzalcoatl emerging from a celestial band studded with stars, his plumed headdress mirroring the planet's radiant glow. Archaeologists discovered that the temple's central staircase points toward the spot where Venus first appears after its period of invisibility, a phenomenon the Aztecs later called the star that smokes. Even the temple's orientation, 15.5 degrees east of true north, aligns with key Venusian positions, proving the builders didn't just worship the sky, they mapped it in stone. This cosmic blueprint extends beyond Venus. The temple sits at the heart of Teotihuacan's Street of the Dead, a processional avenue aligned with the Pleiades star cluster's zenith passage. During this annual event, the cluster's 7 sisters would appear directly overhead, their light reflecting off the temple's polished stucco as if summoning the feathered serpent from the underworld. Modern laser scans reveal hidden tunnels beneath the pyramid, their walls dusted with mercury and powdered pyrite to mimic the starry heavens, a subterranean mirror of the cosmos where initiates might have communed with celestial forces. Today, as Mexico City's sprawl presses against Teotihuacan's ancient borders, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent still whispers its sky-bound secrets. Every Venus cycle, when the planet returns to its designated alignment points, shadows slither across the pyramid steps like the serpent god himself stirring from slumber. In a civilization without telescopes or written records, this temple stood as both prayer and precision instrument, proof that the ancients didn't just watch the stars. They wove them into the very fabric of their world, turning stone into a language the heavens could understand. Carved into the sandstone cliffs of southern Egypt, the Abu Simbel temples perform a solar miracle that has dazzled observers for over 3,000 years. Twice annually, on February 22nd and October 22nd, a shaft of sunlight pierces through the Great Temple's 65-meter-long corridor, creeping deep into the mountain's heart to illuminate statues of Ramses II and the sun god Amun-Ra in the sacred inner sanctum. This spectacle isn't just a quirk of architecture, it's a meticulously engineered display of royal and divine power. The sunlight conspicuously bypasses the statue of Ptah, god of darkness, keeping him forever in shadow, while brilliantly highlighting Ramses' face alongside the sun gods, a visual proclamation that the pharaoh stood equal to the gods themselves. These dates weren't randomly chosen. February 22nd marked Ramses' coronation, while October 22nd celebrated his birthday, events transformed into celestial theater through the temple's alignment. Ancient Egyptian architects achieved this precision by carefully calculating the sun's path, angling the doorway so only on these 2 days would sunlight reach the innermost chamber. The entire temple complex was oriented toward the southeast, ensuring the dawn sun would strike at the perfect angle during these pivotal moments in the pharaoh's reign. For the ancient Egyptians, these illuminations weren't just symbolic, they were proof of the pharaoh's ongoing divine mandate, a solar blessing renewed annually before the eyes of priests and pilgrims. The temple's celestial choreography faced near destruction in the 1960s when the rising waters of Lake Nasser threatened to submerge them permanently. In one of history's most ambitious engineering feats, an international team cut the entire mountain into over 1,000 blocks, each weighing up to 30 tons, and reassembled them 65 meters higher on an artificial cliff. The relocation posed an extraordinary challenge. Maintaining the exact solar alignment required recalculating the temple's orientation with millimeter precision. Engineers used original star charts and modern astronomy software to ensure the sunlight would continue striking the inner statues on the same dates, even accounting for slight shifts in Earth's axis over millennia. The successful preservation of this alignment stands as a triumph of human ingenuity, ancient astronomy, and modern technology, joining forces to protect a dialogue with the sun that began in the 13th century BC. Beyond their solar wonders, the temples guard another celestial secret. The smaller temple dedicated to Queen Nefertari and Hathor, goddess of love and beauty, aligns with the rising sun on February 21st and October 21st, 1 day before the main temple's illumination. This staggered alignment may represent the celestial hierarchy, with the god's blessing reaching Ramses first before extending to his queen. The 4 colossal statues of Ramses flanking the entrance also serve a timekeeping function. Their shadows create distinct patterns that mark significant hours for rituals, turning the facade into a giant sundial. As dawn breaks over Abu Simbel on those 2 sacred mornings, modern visitors witness the same awe-inspiring spectacle that ancient worshippers experienced: sunlight reaching through darkness to anoint stone gods with golden light. The temples stand not just as monuments to a pharaoh's ego, but as testaments to a civilization that wove time, divinity, and stone into a single cosmic tapestry. In preserving this alignment against impossible odds, we've honored not just Ramses' legacy, but humanity's eternal yearning to touch the divine through the movements of the heavens. Perched high above the sacred valley of Cusco, the Temple of the Moon is a hidden masterpiece of Inca astronomy, a sanctuary where stone and shadow dance to the rhythm of lunar cycles. Unlike its famous neighbor, the Temple of the Sun, this crescent-shaped shrine carved directly into a natural grotto honors Mama Quilla, the moon goddess who governed time, fertility, and the sacred feminine. During the full moon closest to the winter solstice, silver light pours through a strategically placed opening in the cave's ceiling, illuminating a ceremonial altar with an ethereal glow. This alignment wasn't poetic chance, it was celestial engineering designed to capture the moon at its most potent moment, when its gravitational pull on Earth's waters mirrored the Incas' belief in its power over women's cycles and agricultural abundance. The temple's walls tell a silent story of lunar worship. Carefully carved niches frame specific windows where moonlight strikes on key dates, marking the 18.6-year lunar standstill cycle, when the moon reaches its most extreme positions in the sky. Priests used these alignments to predict eclipses, which they saw as moments when a celestial jaguar attacked Mama Quilla. To protect her, they'd stage elaborate rituals with mirrors to reflect the jaguar away, while women gathered to chant and spill chicha corn beer as offerings. The temple's underground chambers, accessible only during certain lunar phases, held sacred objects like silver discs representing the moon's phases, used to teach priestesses how to track time for planting quinoa and potatoes. But the Temple of the Moon was more than an observatory, it was a living calendar. The Incas divided their year into 12 lunar months, each beginning with the new moon and tied to agricultural or ceremonial events. The month of Kamei, January, for instance, coincided with the first rains, signaled by the moon's position near the Pleiades. Inside the temple, a stone pillar with 28 notches matching the moon's synodic cycle allowed priests to count days between phases. Nearby, a concave stone basin filled with water acted as a primitive reflecting telescope, its still surface amplifying the moon's light for precise observations. Fertility rituals here blurred the line between astronomy and spirituality. During Koya Remi, the festival of the Queen, women drank moon-infused waters from ceremonial cups while priestesses charted the moon's path on textiles woven with silver threads. The temple's most secret chamber, accessible only during the waning moon, housed a sacred rock formation resembling a woman's womb, believed to be charged with lunar energy that could bless pregnancies. Even today, local shamans whisper that the temple's walls still hum during lunar eclipses, a remnant of the Incas' belief that the moon's cycles were the heartbeat of the natural world. What makes this temple extraordinary is its duality, both a scientific instrument and a sacred space. The Incas didn't just track the moon, they conversed with it, shaping their empire's rhythms around its silver light. As the winter solstice moon rises over the grotto, casting its glow on the same altar where priestesses once stood, one truth becomes clear: this wasn't just a temple to the moon. It was a bridge between sky and earth where time wasn't measured in hours, but in the luminous dance of shadows and stone. Nestled in the lush forests of Ise, Japan's holiest Shinto shrine, the Temple of the Sun, or Ise Jingu, performs a celestial ritual as old as the imperial line itself. Every summer solstice, the first light of dawn streams through the sacred Torii Gate, painting a golden path straight to the inner sanctuary where the sun goddess Amaterasu is enshrined. This alignment isn't just a beautiful accident, it's a deliberate echo of Japan's founding myth, where Amaterasu, hiding in a cave, plunged the world into darkness until her laughter was drawn out by a mirror's reflection, restoring light to the cosmos. The solstice sunrise here isn't merely symbolic, it's a reaffirmation of the emperor's divine descent from the sun goddess, a moment when heaven and earth briefly touch. The shrine's architecture mirrors this sacred connection. Built in the ancient Shinmei-zukuri style characterized by its raised floors, thatched roofs, and unpainted cypress wood, the temple is rebuilt every 20 years in an exact replica, a ritual called Shikainan Sengu that ensures its spiritual purity. This cyclical renewal mirrors the sun's eternal cycle, tying the shrine's existence to the rhythms of the cosmos. The summer solstice alignment is precise. The sun rises over Mount Kamaji, a sacred peak to the east, before its light slips through the temple's eastern gate, illuminating the central hall where only the emperor and high priests may enter. For Shinto believers, this moment encapsulates the concept of Kanagara, the divine flow of nature that binds all things from the smallest pebble to the emperor himself. But the solstice holds deeper political and spiritual significance. Historically, the emperor would perform secret rituals during this alignment, dressed in robes woven with solar motifs, reaffirming his role as Amaterasu's living descendant and the mediator between gods and people. The timing coincides with the planting season, linking the sun's power to agricultural abundance, a theme repeated in shrine artifacts like bronze mirrors representing the sun and rice paddies maintained within the temple grounds. Even the shrine's treasure house, the Shosoin, holds 8th century star charts showing the summer solstice's importance in court astrology, proving this alignment was tracked with meticulous care. Modern visitors to Ai's Jingu during the solstice witness a tradition unchanged for millennia. Though the inner sanctum remains off-limits, pilgrims gather at dawn to face the rising sun, clapping twice in the traditional Shinto prayer as the light spills over the rooftops. The shrine's sacred mirror, said to be a replica of the one that lured Amaterasu from her cave, sits at the heart of this ritual, its surface, unseen by the public, symbolizing the sun goddess's eternal watch over Japan. In a nation where the imperial throne is called the chrysanthemum throne, a flower that opens wide to the sun, the Temple of the Sun stands as more than a shrine. It's a living covenant between land and sky, a reminder that some alignments aren't just measured in light and shadow, but in bloodline, myth, and the unbroken promise of renewal. High on a windswept plateau in central Turkey, the ruins of Yazilikaya, the Hittite temple of the sun god's celestial secrets carved into living rock. More than 3,000 years ago, this open-air sanctuary wasn't just a place of worship, it was a stone compass aligned with the cosmos. During the summer solstice, sunlight floods the main chamber's procession of gods, illuminating a pantheon of celestial deities led by the storm god Teshub and the sun goddess Arina. But the true marvel comes at the winter solstice, when the low-hanging sun slips between narrow rock formations to spotlight a hidden relief of the underworld god Lelwani, a dramatic reminder that even in the year's darkest hours, the sun's return was promised. The Hittites didn't just track the sun, they deified its journey. Arina, their supreme solar deity, wasn't merely a goddess of light, she was the cosmic judge, her rays believed to pierce human deceit. The temple's east-west alignment mirrors her daily path, while 12 carved chambers along the processional way represent the months of the year, each dedicated to a different aspect of the harvest cycle. One chamber, positioned to catch the equinox sunrise, features a striking relief of 2 bull men supporting a winged sun disk, a motif later adopted by neighboring civilizations, proving the Hittites' astronomical influence stretched far beyond their borders. What makes Yazilikaya extraordinary is its dual role as both ceremonial stage and astronomical instrument. The Great Gallery, a natural rock corridor, narrows precisely where the winter solstice sun's light fades, creating a shadowy threshold symbolizing the boundary between earthly and divine realms. Here, priests performed rituals tied to the Purale festival, celebrating the sun's rebirth alongside the agricultural new year. Cuneiform tablets found nearby describe how kings would stand at specific markers during solstice ceremonies, their silhouettes merging with carved images of gods as sunlight hit predetermined points, a theatrical fusion of ruler and divinity. But the temple's celestial connections go beyond solar events. lunar cycles were tracked through smaller, less conspicuous carvings, a series of crescent moons interspersed with star symbols near the sanctuary's entrance align with major lunar standstills. One niche, accessible only when moonlight strikes at a 19-degree angle matching the moon's maximum declination, housed a now-missing meteorite, revered as a fragment of Arina's celestial power. Even the temple's water channels, designed to reflect the night sky during rituals, suggest the Hittites saw the cosmos as an interconnected web where earthly and heavenly waters flowed together. Today, as visitors walk the same processional path where Hittite priests once chanted beneath solstice skies, the stones still whisper their alignment secrets. Modern laser scans reveal the temple's sightlines to nearby Mount Kirkines, where bonfires would be lit to mirror the sun's position during key celestial events. Unlike Egypt's sun temples or Stonehenge's solar markers, Yazilikaya feels intimate, a sacred conversation between rock and sky, where every shadow, every sliver of light, was a divine language spoken in the quiet of an Anatolian dawn. In this temple, the Hittites didn't just worship the sun, they carved its journey into eternity, ensuring that even in ruin, their dialogue with the cosmos would never fade. Standing before these ancient monuments today, we're not just looking at ruins, we're witnessing the culmination of lifetimes of observation, devotion, and ingenuity. The precision with which these structures track solstices, equinoxes, and planetary movements speaks to a profound understanding of the cosmos, achieved without telescopes or computers. These weren't random acts of construction. They were deliberate conversations with the universe where every stone, every alignment was a sentence in a dialogue between earth and sky. Think of the Neolithic farmers who hauled blue stones across miles to mark the solstice at Stonehenge, or the Mayan astronomers who carved Venus's cycles into temple walls with near-flawless accuracy. These were scientists, priests, and artists whose work transcended millennia to remind us that the heavens have always been humanity's first clock, calendar, and compass. What's most humbling is how these alignments reveal a universal human impulse to seek meaning in the stars. Whether it was the Egyptians tying the Nile's floods to Sirius's rise, the Incas anchoring their empire to the sun's rebirth, or the Khmer mirroring Mount Meru in Angkor Wat's towers, civilizations across time and space shared a common language written in sunlight and shadow. These monuments weren't just tools, they were bridges between the practical and the divine, between planting seasons and cosmic cycles, between mortal lives and the infinite. They tell us that astronomy wasn't a niche science, it was the rhythm of existence, dictating when to sow, when to celebrate, even when to wage war. Today, as modern technology distances us from the night sky, these sites offer a chance to reconnect. Visiting Chichen Itza during the equinox, feeling the collective gasp as the serpent slithers down the pyramid, or standing in Newgrange's chamber as solstice light pierces the darkness, these experiences aren't just travel highlights. They're invitations to step into an ancient mindset, to marvel at how much our ancestors achieved by simply looking up. Perhaps you've witnessed a celestial alignment yourself, whether at one of these sites or in your own backyard. Share those stories. They're part of an unbroken chain of wonder, stretching back to the first human who saw a star and sensed something greater. As the stars continue their eternal dance, these monuments stand as silent teachers. They remind us that curiosity about the cosmos isn't modern, it's elemental. So next time you gaze at the night sky, remember, you're part of the same story that inspired Stonehenge's stones and Machu Picchu's sundials. The heavens that guided them still guide us if only we pause to look.